Working Interferences is intended for mature audiences. Since the hosts never grew up, someone needs to be the adult.
Welcome to Working Interferences with Lance, the dental advice podcast for the average dentist. Here is Lance.
All right, welcome back to Totally Oral. Wait.
Where are we at?
Working Interferences. I am Lance Timmerman and joined again
By popular demand.
by actually popular demand. My wife, Holly.
Yep. And we didn't invite Drunk Holly to the podcast.
No, this week we decided to try sober or mildly somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Holly.
It's Taco Tuesday. So
Taco Tuesday
does involve drinking, but
Sure, but not tequila. It's not a tequila night.
not a Wednesday wine night with our daughter. So a little bit different scenarios.
This is the day before we catch our flight to go to Voices of Dentistry.
Yeah. And
So-
I'm praying that they don't cancel our flight
Oh,
like
yeah.
they did to Harder.
Yeah, Craig Harder, last we heard, was searching for a new flight. I haven't heard since if he found a replacement or
We're
backup.
gonna be very disappointed if Craig isn't there.
I think Craig might walk if he has to.
I don't even want to go, but he's one of
You don't have to go.
He's one of the 10,
Not
15
making
that
you
I
go.
actually like. I know, but I have to go because I have to go see the donkeys or go on like
Yeah, the donkey show. All about the donkeys.
the donkey show. Lance, you know,
I do.
you make it sound like I'm a weirdo or something.
That's not me. That's just, you do it
need
on
to
your own.
Simmer down, sir.
Yep.
Simmer
a
down and
gift.
watch yourself. But yeah, so tomorrow we leave for Voices of Dentistry. So please
We
don't
work
come
first.
rob our house.
Well, this will be released. Well, it'll be. Yeah, we'll be gone. So,
Don't rob our house because there's nothing here to.
yeah, you
Get-
would really want to. I'm kind of liking this new setup. So, I get to be upstairs in the comfy place. I'm not downstairs where it's cold little dungeon.
It's
My
all
little
about
recording
what
studio?
I bring to the table. That's what I'm
Okay, we'll go with that. We'll go with that. So now that you've actually had a chance to be on the show a couple times, it seems like things strike you during the day. Oh, we should talk about that. Oh, we should talk about that. So you've joined the world where you have a platform to vent, and this could be
I
good.
don't know if that's actually good or
Okay.
positive
Wow.
because I have such a venomous dislike.
That's an interesting
almost-
word. Venomous.
Did you not hear the past two podcasts?
Oh, I was listening. But like Venom, like the symbiote from Marvel that eats.
Ooh,
Is that kind of Venom? Carnage? Let there be carnage?
kind of.
Okay.
Because, yeah, not a big fan.
You can tell by the trail of the dead?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Or the employees or what have you, depending on the
Right.
situation. But yeah, I had a weird call today. I was like,
Start with the phone call. Tell me about, because I overheard part of it. You think I hear everything, and I only hear parts because I'm around the corner and the door's open.
I was so irritated.
Well, that's not new.
Well, that is not new. But I was so irritated because I get a phone call from an insurance company who is
Do
calling.
you get phone calls from insurance companies a lot?
Not really. Usually it's when it's a patient who doesn't speak English a lot or
Racist.
No, it's not a racist thing. It's because they have people set up to translate and try to help them, which is fine and great. But I don't think he was expecting what he got when he called me. And
What do you think he was expecting? Why do you say that?
I think he was expecting me to kind of go along with what he was saying to me. And I stopped him in mid-sentence. So the
What was he saying to you?
So
I'm not following.
I had a patient who had quad therapy. And she was disputing it because she had only ever had,
Prophy.
she may not have even had a prophy.
Okay.
She had called it deep cleaning to him.
Okay.
So when he called me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm calling about a patient who had a deep cleaning with you." And I said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa. First of all,
That's a pet peeve of mine.
there is no such thing in dentistry called a deep cleaning."
I know. It pisses me off when I hear professionals use that.
And he's like, "Excuse me?" I said, "You sound ignorant, sir.
I said good day.
I said, good day. You should not be having a conversation with a patient when you don't understand what you're saying. So deep cleaning does not exist in dentistry. I said, this patient has a disease in her mouth. And okay, sorry, was I bad? Well, I kind of left it on the side in case I needed to have my wine. I said, she has a disease in her mouth and she has had quad therapy. So she has lost almost 50% of her teeth. And as you can see on the claim that I sent you, there are x-rays, there's a period chart, there's bleeding. If you look at that and you're calling me saying, I have a question about your patient's deep cleaning, you're an idiot. There is no such thing as a deep cleaning, and I do not ever want you to use that terminology again for any of my patients because the words do not exist in dentistry. And he
liked that, right?
Actually, he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was ignorant." And I'm like, "Yes."
No, he's blowing smoke. He doesn't.
Probably was blowing smoke, but I think he was like, "I need to get off the phone."
Yeah, that's more likely. Is make this end
because that personality was much more like drunk Holly. Because that was a trigger.
And you were totally sober.
That's the thing, and I was like, "Walk away, man. Walk away." And he's like, well, I can definitely, take care of this. I just, if you can email me over some additional x-rays.
Was he trying to downcode it down to like a prophy?
A prophy. Because in his mind, that's what she had, because that's the term she used.
But she had a history of a deep cleaning in her, which is a term, which is a euphemism for a periodontal therapy.
Well, but because of all these motherfucking dentists and hygienists out there, I probably can't say that word.
I'll bleep it. So I'll have to do a little bit of editing, bleep you out. There's certain words you just shouldn't use.
I know. Okay.
George Carlin had 7 words you can't use on the radio.
I'm going to try to keep it really super clean.
That's like 4 of them.
But I know. But here's the thing. If any of you doctors, is
that the word we're going to go with?
Dentists, hygienists, or assistants are dumbing the dental lingo down for your patients instead of educating them of the severity of what is happening, you should have your licenses taken away.
That seems extreme.
It's not, though. We had our old assistant, her son-in-law came to us who had been going every 6 months to get a cleaning.
Yeah, he went to a chain
and
DSO.
And he had severe periodontal disease.
6 teeth.
That 6 of his teeth had to be pulled, and he had never once been explained to him what was going on with his mouth because it's an uncomfortable conversation. But I'll tell you one thing. It's a lot less uncomfortable than saying, oh, that periodontal disease that you had you had it taken care of, maybe you wouldn't be having a widowmaker right now. So
a widowmaker? Isn't that a heart attack?
Yes.
Oh, I see where you're going. Okay.
So here's the thing. Stop being lazy at your fucking job.
Yeah.
If you don't,
no, I agree.
If you don't know how to have the conversation with a patient, give me a call. I'll walk you through it because I haven't been to hygiene school or dental school, but I sit and have this conversation with patients on a regular basis because I want them to understand the severity of this. So those doctors' offices out there that don't diagnose perio because we want everybody to say yes and be happy at our office. Well, you know what? Fuck you. You are a shitty dentist. Yeah, you might be making money and you might be skirting along just fine, but what kind of damage are you doing to people because you're so full of yourself? You can't stop and say, you know what, I'm really sorry. I know you're not going to like this, but you have periodontal disease. And if we choose to not do anything.
Well, I prefer to just say you have a bacterial infection.
Well, either way, bacterial infection, periodontal disease, whatever. There's a conversation that goes along with this.
Yeah, well, usually the argument I hear is, well, people just don't understand it, and which is just a bullshit cop-out because...
That's your job to educate them.
No, you're basically saying they're too stupid. And they're not stupid. That people understand a lot. Fuck. Right now we're going in a pandemic. People are now suddenly experts in microbiology and immunology. So they might understand gum infection and bone loss.
I think you can have that conversation.
It's a pretty good chance.
Pretty confidently with most people. And I find that when I have this conversation with most people, they'll ask me point blank, Well, why did my other dentist not tell me about this? Because it's clearly a thing. I'm looking at my own periodontal chart.
Yeah, they're like, oh, when did this start? Or this is new. And you're like, no, this has been going on for years.
For a long time. And guess what? You've been neglected for many, many years because it's a hard conversation sometimes to have because insurance doesn't cover it 100%. And guess what? Insurance is never going to cover it at 100%. And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
So pull your heads out of your ass and do your job.
Yeah. Well, and the argument used to be people would say, well, they're a new patient, so we'll just kind of do a prophy today, and then when they come back, we'll educate them a little bit more. And
never happens.
No, we had that one legal case. The lawyer sent me the 3-ring binder.
Oh, where you were testifying in
no,
the case
well, I wrote an opinion. I didn't get deposed or anything. So, but I wrote him supporting. What happened was this patient eventually found their way to a new dentist, which referred him to a periodontist, and the periodontist turned the original dentist in that they did a perio maintenance. They at least recognized the history of perio, but they built out a perio maintenance just to be nice. But their chart notes supported that it was an active infection. Anyway, this dentist got in trouble because and their license was on I think they were on probation. They didn't lose their license, but they were on probation for a couple years because it was the presence of disease. You don't do a perio maintenance during active infection. But everybody's trying to be non-confrontational and just, let's just see how it is next time. And when we come back next time, we'll
address it.
Do therapy then, or we'll have trust then. Now, put on your big boy pants and have the uncomfortable conversation and deal with it or kick them out. I mean, I enjoy not seeing patients.
Well,
kicking them out because I don't want the liability of...
And that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's what we say to people is, well, you either need to do quad therapy or you need to find another doctor. And when they say, well, why is that? We say, because you have active infection. If I was a heart doctor and you came to me and you were going to have a heart attack and I could clearly see it, but I didn't want the uncomfortable conversation, the light bulb goes off in the patient's head and they're like, oh my God, it's a big deal. Yes, it's a big deal. That's why it's a thing.
Yeah.
And I get really, really disgusted with so many doctors that just don't have the kahunas. They just don't. They want...
There's a lot of pussies out there is what you're saying.
Yeah, stinky, fishy ones.
That's not from me, listeners. That was...
I just can't do it.
No.
Drive me fucking crazy.
Yeah. Not a fan.
But, so that happened today.
So that was today.
So our little insurance guy had a little
awakening?
Coming to Jesus talk with me.
Okay.
But, maybe he learned something. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he doesn't give a crap. But
I'm going to go with didn't give a crap.
Probably isn't going to call our office again. Just probably afraid he's going to get me on the phone.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that too, whichever works.
All right. So this is an advice show, Holly.
Okay. What's our advice?
Well, we answer questions that we find on Reddit. We answer questions we find on all these neat little Facebook groups.
Okay. I'm ready. What do you got?
Well, but before we get to that, still trying to remember.
Do I get to pick the song today?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just checking because I have to be prepared.
Jumping the gun a little early.
I know. I just need to be prepared, and I don't appreciate.
It's about time.
Shut up.
I'm trying to remember the normal banter. So normally we say we answer the questions that Gordon Christensen cannot answer
because he's a nice guy.
Well, and he's got taste, and he's a professional, and all the things that I'm not.
You know what? You are very professional.
Not here.
Okay, well, this is a totally different situation.
No, but we were venting on other things. I did take some notes. Look, I did notes again.
Oh, okay.
So, but these aren't Reddit questions.
Okay.
But it was interesting because I was talking to Clint, and Clint's got an interesting thing. Speaking of pussy.
Be nice to your brother. We love Clint.
Okay. Well, I didn't say I didn't love him, but he still works for this dumbass that I can't believe
he's still working.
He's still working there.
Clint's better than that.
Yeah. I mean, how's this? This dentist, apparently, I know some people that went to Michigan. I don't think Michigan's supposed to be the best dental school, but maybe if you go to Michigan,
they tell you
that's what they're told. But So the guy he works for went to Michigan and then I think he did a 1-year GPR or something in Seattle, like a government a community clinic or something. Anyway, he's done with CE. He's never going to take CE again.
And how old do you think he is about?
I think he's 10 years out of school.
Okay.
10, maybe 15 years out of school. Anyway, like even the brochure will come in the mail and the front desk will give it to him and he will make sure in front of everybody, wad it up and toss it over his shoulder, showing like, I don't need this. I'm so smart. I think in order to satisfy the state requirement to keep your license and your CE requirement, he'll attend the stupid state meetings that has full of information that's 5 years old. So it's not current at all, but it's something.
Fills the quota.
Anyway, this jackass just wants to. I mean, his whole focus is to just do crowns and fillings and maybe some minor things. Refers out to implants, won't do the implants. Clint offered to do implants for him, but he told Clint, fine, you buy all the equipment, you buy the implants, and then you get 30% of the production. And I'm like, no, Clint, you're a special. If you're doing a specialty service like that at that level, number one, he needs to buy the equipment because if you ever left, implants will still be a part of the practice. You have to have the tools for it. So he should invest in his own equipment to have it there. So it's always the same system. Because if you always just have the associates come in with their own implant system and everyone places different implants, now you've got to have inventory of all the different screws and parts and drivers and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, if you hire a specialist to come in, it's typical specialists come in at 50%. So if Clint's acting as a specialist, he should be getting better than the 30%.
Yeah.
Especially if he's having to pay for the...
Does Clint know we're talking about this?
No. Well, he does now.
Okay, well...
Well, I didn't say his name.
You're going to have to bleep that out.
I might bleep that out. If I'm going to bleep out I'm bleeping out. Now I got to remember to bleep.
Twice you have to bleep it out.
Yeah. Anyway, what was interesting is Clint, when he hired on, he worked for a place where the owner just said, look, I'm only doing crowns. So all crowns go to me, all fillings go to you. So that was the end of it with Clint. Clint's like, then I'm out. Says this to the guy when he gets hired, but Clint recently looked at the schedule and realized all of the stuff that he was treatment planning were going to his boss.
Of course they are.
So Clint was just getting... And so I said, that's fine. That's how some owner dentists are. But that means that they're always going to only be hiring new grads, and it's only going to last 6 months to a year on average because the new grad is eventually going to want to do something more than these piece of shit fillings.
They went to dental school to do different
Especially
stuff.
if they're smart, they take CE. Suddenly they're going to go, wait a minute.
The other thing is...
I can be doing this. I can be doing that. So I just think Clint's boss runs in a tight circle of moron dentists that think that this is normal. Because Clint's boss thinks that Clint's viewpoint is out of step and unusual. And I'm like, nah, we're actually fairly well known and know people.
Clearly have no idea.
This guy's a moron. I hope you're listening and you come meet me someday at some meeting. And I'd love to, because I always love when people think that I would be embarrassed. Kind of like those people when I photobombed them at New Year's Eve, and they came to me to show me and thought that I would feel uncomfortable or embarrassed or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, yeah, you're welcome. People come up to me and say, yeah, remember, I'm online. I was so-and-so. They might give me their screen name or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. They're expecting me to be all embarrassed or apologize. And I'm like, no, fuck you. I mean it. I meant it then. I mean it now.
There's a reason I said what I said.
You're still a pussy. So,
people are so dumb. I just can't.
Yeah.
Cannot.
Yeah. All right. Do you want a Reddit question?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go.
I don't have a Reddit question. Let me find one.
Oh. Well, we're going to lose our batteries.
Okay. Well, we might. All right. We have a listener question. Person wrote this one in and actually specifically wanted to hear Holly's viewpoint. So that's how influential you've become in such a short amount of time, Holly.
Okay.
You're getting requests.
Let's have it.
Okay. So this first I get a screenshot of the text, and there was an employer dentist. The employee dentist is texting the employer saying, "Good afternoon, Happy New Year, and to you and your family. Could you call me at your convenience for 5-7 minutes?" And then there's a little halo sign, and then the prayers, hands in prayer supplication sign.
Which I think is very respectful.
Okay, yeah. Namaste. As you know, I'm in touch with so-and-so regarding managing the failed cases, etc. Thank you. So their response was, I think it's best that we let the new surgeon handle these cases. I will cover anything that goes well. I will ask you to pay for anything that goes wrong. I think it's fair given your level of experience. So this doctor said, hey, is this fair? This might be a good question for working interferences. The surgical associate that I terminated due to the quality of his work has been replaced with an amazing associate. He has some cases that are still in progress. Today, he called me because he didn't like the tone that my front desk or the office manager had with him. And I let him know that it's because they care about the patients and the practice, and because he fucked up. He doesn't deny the fact that he fucked up, but he thinks he should be notified about that in a gentler tone. I told my team to take care of patients first and not worry about the money, but I got angry when he spoke badly of my team. So-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so hold down the fort for me. I'm only as good as my team. What does Holly think?
So we did talk about this at the office because you brought it to me when you got it.
Uh-huh.
And so it's kind of a double-edged sword. This person is being very respectful to you. And, depending, if he's owning that his stuff is shit and he has some stuff to fix, first of all, I've known enough front office people to know that, yeah, I know you feel like she's got your back, but she may only have your back. And
it's hard to really comment without seeing x-rays or seeing what they say is failing.
Well,
because
even that,
I've seen some things that are still clinically working. They look terrible on an x-ray, and I was appalled that it was there. But hey, it was still in the person's mouth. They weren't complaining. It was functioning.
Yeah, but that being said, a dentist as an associate is only as good as the equipment that you give them. So if their equipment isn't great and isn't up to the standards of the times and you're using archaic shit, guess what? You're going to get shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize how spoiled I was until I've worked at other places. And then I went, oh, I guess my stuff's pretty sweet.
But, in this situation, she's being defensive for her front office. And, as far as I'm concerned, this front office is handling a situation that she should not be handling. She is not a doctor. She is a front office, pencil pushing, paper pushing, insurance person. So to come up to a doctor and tell them first off that their stuff is failing and is garbage, she has no business doing that.
Well, since we don't know what was actually said, I'll be first. You've misinterpreted texts before. Text and emails don't portray tone. And that's why I think sometimes things can be, it depends on how you read it. It may not have been intended in a certain tone, but you read it in a certain tone. So it might have been totally respectful, but you read it poorly.
Well, and I also know staff well enough to know that she's never going to explain it to you in the way that she explained it to the doctor or to another staff member.
Yeah.
She is going to make you believe that her shit doesn't stink because she wants you to trust her and like her and be the confidant that makes her safe. And I hate to say it, but women are bitchy. And especially women who don't have power. So if she has the opportunity to be puffed up and have something over on this doctor, she may take that opportunity. So what I would do in this situation is I would bring both of them into a room and have a conversation because you're going to get the full story. This
is a former person, so they're not going to be there. So I don't think you'd be bringing them in. I think if there was still a working relationship and they were still coming to the office and being there, then yeah, I think it would probably be a face-to-face, the threesome kind of thing. My thought would be it might be best those types of conversations, doctor to doctor.
Oh, 1,000%. If they're not working there anymore and you want them to help you, then it needs to 1,000%.
Was it to help? Because I don't think they wanted any help. Let me go back to the question.
She wanted them to fix the stuff that was terrible
I don't think it was to fix. I think it was more of cover the cost.
Yeah, but then you're also dealing with an opinion. Whose opinion is it that their stuff is bad? Is it the new doctor's opinion so that he has an opportunity to make more money? Because we've seen that many a time.
Right.
So, this might be a situation where even though this girl runs her shit for her, she needs to go into the office, look at what is being said needs to be replaced, and really use her skills as a dentist and say, okay, this I can see, but, I'm not going to take just anybody's opinion because that's kind of bullshit. I mean, if you went into an office and did a bunch of work and then all of a sudden the new guy comes in and he's looking for work to do.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's finding problems with everything that you did.
Well, because there was that office that I was up a couple months ago, and on the schedule I was supposed to seat 2 implant crowns, but they were at such crazy angles that it took me a while on the models to figure out which sequence to do it, because if I put one down first, there was no way the other one was going to go down. And so you had to do it in the right order, but I could also tell there was enough going with it that I messaged the coordinator dentist that sent me there and said, I'm going to punt. The doctor that did this, they get to be the one to seat this because it's going to go south. And if there's too many dentists involved, who do you blame?
Yep.
And I don't want to be a part of this at all.
You're going to blame the guy that's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And
so he understood my perspective. He was trying to have we're all in the same boat. We're all a team. And then he finally admitted, he says, well, actually the one that did all that, we've already fired him. So
he's fired from the team. So he's not part of the team.
And then I'm like, oh, okay. But then I found out they'd already gone ahead and canceled that patient for me by the time I got the message that they already fired the guy. So,
but that's the thing
anyway.
is,
sometimes the work is not great.
Yeah. 100%. But sometimes it's just an opinion of somebody who shouldn't be having the opinion.
Right.
Or isn't qualified to have.
Don't shoot the messenger is where I'm saying here. Yeah,
but I also don't think that your front office person is the one to be addressing a doctor. And, unless she's relaying a message that you specifically told her to relay. Because, I would be like, fuck you. Give me someone who is licensed and we'll have a conversation. Because that's kind of bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, fair enough.
I'm sure that's not the opinion they wanted.
Probably.
I'm going to go out on a limb. But, yeah. What I would recommend is, doctors need to be addressing doctors, not opinions of front office staff.
Well, we had that one office that I actually worked for several months. It was the front desk that there was the day I delivered a full mouth rehab, and they were mad because I sent a case back. It was the entire case. I ended up taking the patient to my own office to scan because what they were made me use was so bad. Seating 28 units that aren't going to fit it was going to look like horrible on x-rays. It was just going to be a horrible thing. So I sent everything back. I did it myself with my own scanner, delivered the case using the right lab. Their lab bill went up. My office manager was pissed because the bill went up. But I also refused to do a case that she just put in my schedule to do 6 anterior crowns, which if you don't know, 6 is never the right number. You never do just 6.
Well, that's your first sign that you shouldn't be doing it.
It's the red flag. I teach my patients it's red flag. You went to the wrong dentist if they treatment planned just 6 units. Anyway, this person was massive bruxism, angled. The wear pattern on their front teeth were at an angle, huge masseters. I said, no, this is a full mouth reconstruction. This is not 6 anterior units. So they were so pissed off, it eventually led to my getting terminated because...
But
then when they found out the whole story later on, they didn't hear all of it. And so later on when it came back, because they came back to me a month and a half later offering a job back, maybe not the same job, but they wanted me to keep working because I was their number one producer. This was a company that had many offices, a DSO, so there were 16 locations, and they came down to a per hour productivity because they were trying to compare me as a part-timer to everybody that was full-time. And on a per hour productivity level, I was their number one, all of their doctors. And so I'll be honest, I felt I was a little untouchable by being their number one producer. But it goes to show that a lot of times they trust the front desk more than the doctor. And so I got let go. So
well, and then they learned their lesson and ended up firing the front office and coming back and asking you to work there again.
Yeah, they came back to me and they had me, the boss, owner, CEO, dentist, that front desk, and myself to maybe we can work this out. And then I was just like, what would be any different? And by the time we got done with all the details of things, and I brought up a few details I don't think he knew of at the time of letting me go.
Well, because they made a snap decision
and then
based on the
2 weeks later,
desk.
I find out she got fired. I'm like, oh, well, I'm still not coming back.
Well, and that's the thing is that's
it was nice
why,
to be asked back, but no, I did not go back.
Exactly. But that's why I say, really and truly, a front desk should not be addressing a doctor unless they're saying they're ready for you in Op 1. It's really not their position. They don't have any education to justify it, no matter if they've been in there 100 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. She thought she knew, she'd been in an office, and they knew everything, and she thought this one local lab did fantastic, beautiful work, and I knew that lab was terrible.
It did not.
So I'm like, they don't even know how to layer very well. Shit doesn't fit. You have to adjust. Anyway, so it...
So firmly believe if you have an issue with your doctor, you need to address it with your doctor. Don't send your front desk to do it because I'm sorry. I don't give a I've been doing this for 24 years. I'm not a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact. So stop sending your front desk to do the shit you don't want to do because they're not going to do it correctly. So that's me.
All right.
What do you got? What's next? Well, I have feedback on my weed brownies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Our hygienist came back and was like, oh, the wheat brownies are working wonderfully for my sister. She is only needing to have one at night, helps her sleep, and it takes care of the pain right away. So she brought me a whole bunch more of the brownie stuff so that I can make her some more. Yay! Everybody's happy.
Okay, so my parents, ask on the Reddit subreddit Ask Dentists, the user Tom Hiddleston Stick. I think it's probably Tom Huddleston, but my parents said that wisdom teeth removal isn't necessary and told me I'm not getting it done for a while. So my parents said they have their wisdom teeth, so I don't need mine out, but I've been warned for a year to get them out, and I've known about them since before braces. My dad is really mad and said it's too expensive, and my dentist gave me a referral to a surgeon. My grandpa, who I'm close with, called him and said this is necessary. Her wisdom teeth are impacted, and my dad got even more mad at me, saying, why did I tell him? Basically said, fine, you can get it, and maybe next month or March. I'm literally so scared. I don't know if this is the right sub to ask, but I'm begging y'all to help me. When I stick my fingers in my mouth and touch my gums, the wisdom teeth are literally there. I feel them behind the gum.
So they're impacted. And are they hurting? Are they pushing your teeth? Most likely they are pushing your teeth, but wisdom teeth aren't going to be, it shouldn't be a scary thing that you have them. And a lot of people do have them. Now, as you get older, your teeth are going to start moving. So if you've had ortho, not having your wisdom teeth out is going to cause a problem.
So what frustrates me is this person is still a minor, so the parents' opinion does matter.
Right.
The problem is the parents aren't fucking dentists, so they don't know shit. And just because they're in a shitty state doesn't mean that's the right place to be. Number one, just because they have them, sometimes they come in and there's room for them and they are less of a problem right now than the impacted situation for this child. They may or may not be impacted. They may just be erupting. I don't know the age of this person. They should be old enough. If they're suggesting they be removed, then they're likely a late teen, so that's the time to be taking them out. You try to have the root development at least 2/3 of develop before you take them out. So looking at the real reason that it's a problem is it's going to be a problem eventually. You usually don't have enough keratinized tissue. You usually don't have a situation that long-term is going to be good. And then when it becomes a problem, because if you're waiting for it to be on fire before you fix the problem, you might have collateral damage. You may lose other teeth because you waited on the wisdom teeth. So I'm an advocate, always get the wisdom teeth out. And I don't know, there are some lazy dentists out there, or the pussy dentists that don't want the uncomfortable conversation with the patient to explain why you're having them out. It's just a lot easier to say, well, if they don't hurt, just leave them because you're a pussy.
Well, and you also know they're not going to be with you forever.
Yeah, they're likely
and
to move on.
Someone else's
problem. So I'm an advocate, take them out, but I don't do it or don't. The thing is, I just don't care. Do it or don't. I don't care. It's your mouth, your money.
But
it's going to be a problem eventually. Yep. And if you break your hip when you're 15, it's painful. You're gonna heal. You break your hip when you're 70, you might die.
Yep.
So take care of the wisdom teeth when you heal uneventfully. Or like my mom, she's just love her to death, pisses me off. We wanted to take her teeth out and give her implants, but she didn't want to do anything until there were problems. Well, by the time we suggested knee replacement. Well, she heard that knee replacements only last 15 years. So she was going to try to time it for the last 15 years of her life.
Yeah.
She's not healthy enough to get it. So she doesn't get knee replacements now because she just wouldn't handle the surgery. So great. Yeah, you timed it well, but now you can't do it. Same with the implants. She kept putting it off. Well, now's not a good time. I want to recover through the summer or whatever. Or she had grandchildren that were going to come visit from California or something. And she kept putting it off. Finally, she's not healthy enough to do them.
Yep.
So
and now her dentures don't fit her because she
fucking loses them.
Well,
we need to scan them so that we can just have a record to print them again.
But that's not really her fault. No, because she's not mentally cognitive to be there.
The dementia part, that doesn't help.
So, I mean, it's not really her fault that she keeps losing them. It just is what it is. And
well, it is her fault when she's losing them because they're in her fucking mouth.
Okay. But she isn't cognitively there to even know that they're in her fucking mouth.
Yeah.
So.
Because they were out of town, and they were looking for him, and finally they just said, fine, we're just going to the restaurant anyway. And then during the meal, my brother or my dad, someone said, wait a minute, what's in your mouth? And it was her teeth.
Yeah, because she is not all there.
Yeah.
So that's not her fault.
All right. All right.
Don't make me defend your mom.
All right. Yeah, that was an odd move.
Jesus.
All right.
I was really disappointed that nobody gave me any reviews. That's all suck.
Yeah, we ask for reviews usually every week. No one ever does. We had at one point we got a bunch of reviews, then nothing for many, many months, and then we would get a bunch of reviews and then nothing for many, many months.
Well, you guys need to put in a review. So here's the thing. You go to the podcast screen. This is in case you're embarrassed and you can't quite figure out how to ask for help.
Now, are you talking the podcast app on your phone, or are you talking on the computer?
On your phone. And you scroll to the bottom of the page, and it allows you to leave a review really quickly. 5-star, Holly's awesome, and go on with your day. Stop being lazy. It's not attractive. Did you find anything yet?
We used to see a whole bunch of questions, about blowjobs after extractions and things. I'm not seeing anything like that.
Well, I have an opinion on that. Because you guys had the question from that person that was like, can I give my boyfriend a blowjob after I have my wisdom teeth pulled?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Why are you doing the work when you just had surgery? He needs to nut up and get to business. So
he was trying to nut up.
No, he wanted her to get to work.
To nut up.
Lance.
I'm just translating.
Yeah, well, you guys out there, quit being lazy. Get active. If she's had her wisdom teeth out, guess what? It's your turn. Get to business. Help her relax.
So the thing is, I got out of a lot of Facebook dental groups because they're full of just idiots. Or I just had to block some of the people that were just morons because they're just terrible. So let me find. So this one is said, here's an anonymous post request from a member of the group. How many legitimately think their practice could be bankrupt in the next 1 to 3 years? Even non-participating practices? Serious question. What are your thoughts on that? You've seen the ebbs and flows with our practice, and you've heard me talk about other practices, and you've seen my friends that have the DSO volume type practice.
Well, my opinion is, private practice has less than 10 years left, especially in the state of Washington.
See, that's what it feels like, but then when I still look at the reports, the DSOs still only are like, 8 to 10% of the practices are DSOs?
Yeah, but they're rapidly buying them up. COVID has presented a situation for them to come in and rapidly dominate.
What dentistry. It seems to be, a lot of them, even if they're not joining the DSO thing, what they're doing is they're joining, a lot of private guys are getting together to try to sell as a group to get a multiple of EBITDA instead of a percentage of the revenue. So it does feel, and maybe it's because we are actually looking at acquisitions. Clint's trying to buy a practice, looking to buy a practice, so he's got prospectus that he'll look at. We hear of people selling out and things. It does feel like, but 10 years ago, I think I said the same thing, and it still is 10 years on, and we're not 100% DSO.
We're not 100% DSO, but we're very socialistically dominated in the state of Washington.
Yeah. I think there's some states where they've made it difficult for a DSO to get a leg in there.
Yeah, Washington did not.
They changed things because Heartland couldn't come in here a few years ago. Something's changed, and Heartland is in town. They're back. They're here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think...
But I also think it depends on what kind of training the doctor has. Because there's definitely those people out there that will pay for quality work. And frankly, those are the only people that I want.
Right. Our experience the past year and a half has led me to think, okay, fine, we're going to embrace the full-on, not specialist or elite, but I don't want the people that just want their teeth cleaned.
I don't want just anybody in the practice.
So, I mean, that guy that came in today, he was nice. He had a broken tooth. We got him in and did his crown. But
even him, he was like, I've never been treated like this in a dental office before. This was really cool.
Well, and so this will be my plug for Align Technologies iTero. That machine alone makes the difference. I just had to scan him, and then I, on the 3D model, spin things around to show him what his teeth looked like. It had the NIRI, the near infrared output, so it looked kind of like an X-ray, and I could show him here's where the cavities are. That piece of equipment right there just sold thousands of dollars for me, and I didn't have to try. I didn't feel like selling. A lot of dentists don't like the salesy things. Well, you don't have to be a salesman. You just got to sit there and educate, and the patient will beg you. I mean, I was trying to get rid of the patient, and you're like, "Can you do the crown right now?" I'm like, yeah, I can."
Yeah, I mean, he was a nice guy, and he was just like,
"Let's get her done."
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, give me $1,000." He's like, "Hey."
So, yeah, it makes it an easy situation. So that was but I would much rather spend the same kind of effort with like the consult we had right before that, where she wants an all-on-4. So
yeah, but those don't come through the door every single day.
No,
that is just not.
But
logical.
I think kind of going back to your whole things go bankrupt. I think we're less likely to go bankrupt because of what we can do.
Yeah.
But all it takes is a couple months of people saying no, and we have no revenue, that we'd be bankrupt.
And it happens, and it gives everybody anxiety. It happens to everyone. So if you're a young guy out there and you feel like it's just you. It's not just you. It happens to everyone, no matter what kind of smoke they're blowing up your ass.
Well, and it's what's interesting is I look at some of my friends' practices where they've got 20 employees, and
oh my God, that would stress me out so much.
Well, not only that, but okay, now when suddenly people don't want to go to the dentist and they're staying home, and you've got no hygiene, but you have 3 hygienists, and you've got to keep them busy to be productive, and suddenly it's crickets. It was Linwood. I was just north of Seattle a month and a half ago, and I was sitting around twiddling my thumbs. They had 8 ops, and the schedule is just dead. And
we're seeing that because all of a sudden in the state of Washington, people have finally gone back to work to some extent, and now, they're not getting time off work. They're not able to work their schedule around sitting at home in their pajamas. And people are, canceling and moving their appointments. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking because for the past couple of years, people haven't had to show up to work. So they could just schedule their appointments whenever was convenient for them.
Yeah.
And so, it happens to everyone. And the biggest thing is don't feel like it's just you and that the sky is falling, because the sky falls pretty regularly in dentistry.
Yeah. When I was sold a bill of goods in dental school, they were saying dentists don't go bankrupt. There's always teeth to fix. There's
not always people that want to pay for it, though.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And
it's easy to be on an insurance list and have things that's less out of pocket, but the patients still don't want to be there.
Well, they don't want to be there, and they make it very, very difficult sometimes to get your money.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's a lot of guys out there that are really stressed out. I'm on different dental forums too, and people are worried because for one, the U.S. mail isn't coming through, and people are not getting their check payments because they're not on EFT or whatever like that. Which I understand, because sometimes being on EFT isn't the best way to go, because at any point in time, the insurance company can take your money if they decide they shouldn't have paid you for something.
Yeah, that's not a good experience, watching the money go away
really quick. Yeah. And so you've got a lot of guys who are now dependent on the mail service, and the mail service doesn't have any employees either. And so, the whole sleet and hail and we're coming and we're going to take care of everything. Well, that's not so much happening anymore for the U.S. Postal Service. So, there's a lot of scary things out there happening for dentists. And the biggest thing is just keep pushing forward. You can't stop and be like, oh, it's the end. It's the end all of it. You just have to keep moving forward. Otherwise, you'll make yourself crazy. And you're not the only one. I promise you're not the only one dealing with it.
Yeah. We should probably wrap it up. It's we've been going on for a bit.
Well, there's a lot that's going to get deleted.
Yeah, there's that. And I hope that I can remember all the spots that I need to bleep.
You're going to have to listen to the whole thing.
And
you're going to have to make it sound interesting.
I'm not a magician. So, everybody, if you've got anybody that wants to listen to really stupid advice, share the podcast.
Share the podcast. Get people to listen more.
Rate and review us.
So we don't feel like it's a waste of our time.
How many stars, Holly?
5 stars.
All
5 stars.
Give me 5. Make it 5.
Make it rain 5s.
Okay. People that might want to follow us, we have a secret group called the Funny Shit for Dentists and Dental Team Members. Invite only, so you got to know someone.
I'm not on there.
If you want to find me on Instagram at drtimmermandmd. We also have a thing that's barely used in Instagram. It's working interferences. What else? Give us a rate and review with the 5 stars, and then Holly, do you want people to even try to contact you, or just leave it through? I'm on
Globetrotter Grub, which is not a dental forum. It is strictly wine, food, and travel.
Do you spell Globetrotter funny at all? Or okay, so just Globetrotter Grub on Instagram.
Yep.
And then people can message you that way?
Find me that way.
Okay.
I'm around. I might not talk to you. Who knows?
All right.
Depends on my mood. Do I get to pick the song?
And then now is the time to pick a song.
Beautiful South, We Are Each Other.
Okay, just going to do that. You're not going to give a lead up, explain why the song, and you just who they are.
So, Beautiful South, Lance and I, fun fact, we're supposed to be in Ireland.
No, we were supposed to arrive home today.
Okay, well, we missed Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to go. We were going to see a concert, 2 concerts actually.
And a big shout out to Chris Stafford, who was supposed to see the concert with us. But you're coming to Coyce in March, so I'll see you then.
For the Beautiful South,
Paul Heaton
and Jackie Abbott. One of our very first dates 30 years ago. And they have a song called We Are Each Other.
Off of their album 0898.
And that's always been kind of Lance and I's song. You'll hear us a lot of times if we're talking and we're in a group or something like that. All of a sudden you hear one of us say, "Get out of my head." Because we think a lot alike and we say a lot of the same shit.
I mean, we do finish each other's sentences and things. And
it's a little bit terrifying.
Sometimes it's creepy. Sometimes it's really, really creepy.
But yeah, so that's one of our songs. And it's a super fun song and a little twisted and just like us.
Ah, fair enough. So on that note, for Holly Timmerman, this is Lance Timmerman. We are each other.
Love you.
Disclosed, we bar the living daylights of anyone too close, and all our cards of Christmas are written to us both. Count them up, who's got the most? Said we'd be close, said we'd work perfectly, said that we'd toast beautiful company, closer than a sister to her baby brother, closer than a secret agent working undercover. It's too close for another, it's too close for the lover. We are each other, we are each other. Positions, and this one's definitely best. You know Middle East, I'm the Wild West. What happens to our friendship? We could easily have guessed. Adding up, we're self-possessed. Said we'd be true, said we'd be so proud. Sister to her